All right, before we get into today's episode, we got Chef Rachel Ponce, by the way, super excited. Micah Park from Booker. He's their hospitality guru over there. Had a great chat about something they are doing, which is really flipping the winemaker dinner on its head. You know, they're transforming the Booker tasting room into a full-service restaurant for just one night only. And guess who's the chef? Oh, yeah, Chef Rachel Ponce. Before we get into the chat, this episode's sponsored by our friends at Tin City Distillery. Have you ever wanted to own a barrel of spirits? Well, now you can. The Private Barrel Club at Tin City Distillery. This club lets you craft your own whiskey, age it how you like, even bottle it with a custom label. You got your barrel with your own custom barrel head there that everyone can see. And guess what? The pour, we got our own private barrel. How cool is that? I'm so excited. I just go and babysit it, talk to it. You can babysit your own. Get to the show notes or go to tincitydistillery.com and check out their Private Barrel Club. All right, let's spill it. Let's get into the show.
Here, we taste it, we spill it, we leave it all on the table. It's The Pour with Adam Montiel.
Cheers.
Cheers. So good to see everyone here. Look at this one.
Sorry, can I sip right away?
No, of course, but I love that those moments when you cheers and like the reverberation of the glass starts making its way to the microphone. And he goes,
oh, you can hear it?
Yeah, no, like listen, here, cheers me real quick, Micah. Now listen.
Oh, people are going to be so jealous.
Yeah, right. I love this. Well, first of all, Chef Rachel, always awesome to see you. You know how
you.
much I love you and your work. Micah, my man, how has Booker been? How have you been?
Living the dream, buddy.
Good, dude. Super cool. I'm excited to see the two of you collab. And the way this all came up was really cool. And Micah, it was kind of, you know, we were talking off the air about how this idea came because it is pretty much turning like your typical winemaker dinner on its head and your typical catering dinner on its head. And talk about where this hit you and what we're putting together with Chef Rachel, nonetheless, on March 22nd.
I think the synchronicities between wine and food are super powerful. And I've always seen my enjoyment of culinary experiences and wine experiences as a very similar thing. So when I got to curate the experiences at Booker and I saw our hospitality center in all of its gleaming glory in the evening time, I've always had this idea to bring in a local culinary element that can function more like a dining room or a restaurant. I had the privilege of...
You're like, oh, we're shut down at 5 or 6. It's too pretty here at night.
Yeah, I mean, I had the privilege of doing these awesome pop-up experiences in LA where we'd get these emails and it's like, hey, if you know, you know, and you can't go if you don't know. And I've always felt that culture in Paso Robles would be something that's so cool. So I basically got to thinking, I was like, who's my favorite chef here locally? And Rachel came to my mind immediately. We got to work on just a beautiful dinner at in Paradiso, and we worked together like crazy. I mean, it was as easy as, hey, here's our wines. Let's taste through them. Let's chat for 30, 40 minutes, talked mostly about Chicago, and then made an awesome dinner happen.
That was fun. If you guys missed that, this is going to be your time to come back and try it out.
You know, I'm really moved that considering all of the changes with Booker in the last couple of years, that there's still that local autonomy. Like, hey, I have this idea for the tasting room. No one can feel what is going on and the vibe of things like someone like you who's there with your team every day. And I want to do this. I want to bring this chef in. And are these hard hoops to get through once you have kind of a bigger entity that's kind of overseeing things? Or is it just as easy as it always was?
I think it's as easy as it always was. And I have to say, with the transitions at Booker Vineyard, one thing that was really cool is that they focused on us as a culture. And they looked at our people and our team as this learning point where it's like, hey, Booker's badass. They're doing these things that they believe in. Eric's obviously supported us from the very, very beginning. And his voice is huge in Booker. And he's all about autonomy. He's honestly a talent agent. Like, he reminds me of a sports agent where he's like, all right, I'm going to put together my perfect team and then I'm going to give them autonomy to make these decisions. And
it's a great way to describe it,
man. Like, there's no shortage of awesome people we could work with. So there's no reason we wouldn't collaborate and just make the experience bigger and better in Paso every single time.
One of my first Cork Dorks episodes, meeting Eric and interviewing him, we would play this thing called the wine game, which we could play at the end here of this episode. But at the wine game, at the end, like if we won, we'd say, hey, I want to take a bottle of this, you know, whatever, home. If you win, we'll give you like 2 hours in your tasting room. And then Eric would be like, have you seen the girls in my tasting room, Adam? Like, do you think I want your ass in there? Like, no, thank you. So
they are like one of the best looking teams. I have to say.
For sure. Yeah,
all around.
Yeah. You guys got it all dialed in there, and this is really no exception. So we're kind of taking the tasting room and we're kind of flipping it into like a little mini restaurant for a night. Tell me about this. This is kind of got to be fun for you to approach something a little different like this.
I mean, different is what I live for. So, of course, as soon as he asked me if I wanted to collaborate with something like this, I was like, absolutely. Like, let's get on a call right now and figure this out. So the way we're approaching it is it's a 2-top, it's a 4-top, it's a date night. This is you going to a restaurant. It's not this one big, long winemaker dinner. Not there's anything wrong with that,
sure.
But this is just a little bit different. I don't think anyone in this area has done something like this where we're totally transitioning a tasting room into a restaurant. So I feel like once people get an understanding on what we're bringing to the table, this is going to sell out really, really fast.
So whether you're going there as a 4-top or you're going there with like a date, I can't wait for this. We're going to go and just it'll be like a little date night.
It's
and
absolutely
you kind of go and have your time whenever you get there. And let's talk about the menu. I mean, are we ordering whatever we want? Are we going off a menu? Are we doing a prefix thing? How are you doing it?
So I want you to come, sit back. Booker team is going to be the Psalms of the evening, and then we are going to be the restaurant. Prefix menu, I have sorted it all out so you don't have to look at a menu. Big varieties, dietary restrictions, if there is any, I'm always happy to accommodate that.
Oh, what a pain in the ass. That's got to suck, huh?
No, because I feel
so
bad
sweet.
because some people are like, I'm so sorry, I'm vegetarian. And I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
So as long as I know up front, the ones that suck is when I get to a dinner and they'll run back and be like, there's a vegetarian. And I'm like, this is not a restaurant. Like everything I have is prepared. There's only so many ways I can do mushrooms.
What's the worst? Is it someone who wants gluten-free even though they don't really, like they're not celiac, they just want it? Or what's the worst?
Well, I have to say gluten-free. I tend to not use a lot of gluten in my winemaker dinners prefix menu just because it's such a filler. So say like anytime I would have a roux, I'm not doing a roux with flour. I'm using vegetables and the produce we have in this area to be the thickener agent of that, because I also don't want you be hungry at the dinner and I don't want you to be overly full. I feel like I failed. So I want it just to be in between.
Worse than going to an expensive ass dinner
and wanting a hamburger,
having to go in and out on the way home. I was at a place with a very expensive place that the people at Michelin know about, I'll say that.
Yes.
And we had to stop in and out on the way home. Everyone did.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just me being a fat ass. It was like everybody was hungry. You know what I mean?
So to me, that fails. And even when we open up our restaurant, like I want everyone to be satisfied. And I feel like it is filling with all the flavors and the different wines or beers that you're having with the food. It's a total experience. But I also don't want you to stop in and out. And then I don't want you to pass on dessert. Like I want it to be a good start to finish.
It's tough.
Yeah. But I really try to hone in and look at the menu and what I have and look at that whole journey from start to finish that everyone's satisfied.
Do you ever have a winery go, oh, I saw this picture that you posted from your Robert Hall dinner, your Kaliza dinner, and go, oh, I want that. Like I really, like just literally ask you to replicate the same exact thing.
I feel at this point of my career, people know me and are like, go loose, because everything I do is custom to the wine. So I've never done the same dishes twice, which makes me very unique. It's literally the bottle of wine that I'm working with, what that wine spoke to me about, and what flavors I wanted to use to enhance the flavors of the wine without changing it is what makes it unique. For example, the last dinner I just did, I wanted chocolate, cabbage, umami, salty, and I literally stuffed Iberico pork with chocolate and then wrapped it in prosciutto and sous vide it, fried it, and then finished it off with a chocolate demi-glaze. So like, but I wanted those flavors because I knew it worked with the wine. So I wouldn't just be like, oh, let's put chocolate and pork and see what happens.
Yeah.
But it works because you're sipping the wine with the dinner.
Now I've seen you from afar, like in your mode and in your moment, like you're going, there's like three of you going like, you're doing your thing and like, oh, I don't even want to like bother you. But then I've just cooked with you where you're just having fun, whether we're almost burning down the studio or we're in your house making, bean salads. And one thing I see from you, and I'm sure Micah will echo this, you have so much fun.
I
cooking.
do.
Like you just seriously love this, and you could tell.
I like that stress point too. I live
Do
for
you?
it. Like Eric helps me, my husband helps me in the kitchen sometimes, and I'm like, walk away, because he's like running around with his hands up, and I was like, no. I live for this, but it's also very controlled. But I have a blast at what I do, and the time that I'm like over it, I'm not going to continue to do this job. I do
Yeah.
it because I love it so much.
I thought you just had Eric because he was your sexy Latin flavor in your Instagram photos.
That too. Me shoving food in his mouth
Yeah.
on all my reels.
Yeah, I love it.
Wait, did you see the reel I did with Tally? It was like the first week of January, and I literally had him put a face mask
Yes.
on with
Bro,
kiwis
yes.
on his eyes.
And then
me-
he's eating the kiwi afterwards. That was funny.
He's a good sport.
Yeah, he's great. And look what he gets. I mean, he gets all that great cooking. I mean, I
Right?
think of like her kids. I think of like her 2 kids. Micah, can you imagine these kids? They get to just going up to Chef Rachel, call, I want this, and then she's like, okay, all right, let's start down.
I do spoil them
So
because I
great.
work so much, and I just feel like I need to like
but
spoil
a great
them.
breakfast. I mean, I don't know about you, but how often did your mom and dad make you like a badass breakfast on a Saturday morning? Did that happen for you? It didn't for
Might
me.
have.
I got pretty lucky. I
Oh,
was
shoot.
I was
Look at me.
raised in wine country,
was gonna
so
say, and look
my
at your
family loved to
career.
eat. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I couldn't get away from it. It's funny, growing up, the first thing my parents said to me always is, stay the hell away from the wine industry. Like, do not get into the wine industry.
Is that right?
And then you just see them every single day and the passion that they have for it, and you fall right in love with it. They say it jokingly, of course.
Well, what do
but,
they do in the wine industry? Why did they tell you that?
my family runs a vineyard in St. Inez called Lucas and Llewellyn. So, really great fruit and really cool area. Growing up in St. Inez was awesome. But I do remember my lunches going to school were a little bit different than the rest. So I'm like, all right.
Oh, because he
here's
probably had
my
prosciutto
charcuterie
wrapped
platter right here.
prosciutto
and
wrapped cheese.
caviar.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So your mom and dad were Lucas, or they're Lucas and Llewellyn.
Yeah, my family has always been connected to Lucas and Llewellyn. My
Cool.
grandmother ran the sales in the beginning. My mom is running the wine club, the tasting rooms. My stepdad is there
awesome.
too.
That's a legendary brand.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and honestly, it led me right into Paso. I remember calling my mom, and I was like, hey, I met Eric Jensen. He's pretty rad. I think I'm
Yes.
going to go do my thing over in Paso. But did want to say real quick with Chef Rachel, I think something that's really cool is not only the fact that you're cooking for your kids after a long day, that you realize that. I think so many chefs I've worked with, at the end of a day, they think about it almost more structured, and it's work to them. And you always have that great time doing it. But you feed people's souls, not just their palates, not just like the sustenance of the food. You feed that experience. And I think that when I worked with you in Paradiso, that was the thing I was most excited about, is you are such a person that lights up a room, and that is echoed true through your food. But not only that, it's just the way that you hold yourself while you do it.
Thank you.
We couldn't think of a better person to collaborate with.
Yeah, it's
Thank
really
you.
cool. You and Eric are really a special couple. Your kids are super cute and polite. Like so you guys are obviously doing something really, really right in the whole way you take on all the things that you love, which lucky for us, we're all doing things for work that we love, where it doesn't even feel like work. I'm so excited to break down this menu. Talk to me, Rachel, about what we're putting together for March 22nd.
Yeah, so it's a 5-course dinner. We're going to start with amuse-bouche, or do you want to say
Amuse your mouth.
amuse your mouth? Anyways, I want some things to be a little bit of a surprise, but just to get a sneak peek of what's to come, the amuse-bouche is called Lick Your Plate. So I'm literally taking a dish of something, I'm not going to give it up yet, dehydrating it, and then putting it in the coffee grinder. So it's literally powder form on the plate,
No
and
way.
you lick it, and it takes you to some very familiar childhood memery.
Really?
So that
means
kind
graham
of cuisine.
crackers.
Oh. No, but
Okay, here we go. Let's say it, but I will beep it out. Do you trust me?
yeah,
I will beep it out. Go
Okay.
ahead. Tell me what it is.
it is.
Holy God. That's going to blow people's minds.
I hope.
That's going to blow people's minds.
And I
Wow.
think I don't know, with my dinners, I like having a lot of interaction things. Like I like having flames on the table, or something where you're starting a dinner that's going to be so high end, but you're literally licking your dish. It just takes you to that, like, what to expect. And this is going to be a fun ride. You kind of sit back a little bit more and just like enjoy yourself completely.
Fun. I love the idea of just like grabbing a plate and licking it. Like, it's so like hands on. There's so many foods, salads where a lot of people, eat with their fingers, or, getting touching your food. You know, sometimes when we were kids, it was besides Micah, who is bougie, but like, but other kids, you were like, you don't touch your food, you don't pick it. But sometimes being hands-on with your food, there's nothing cooler and being more connected with it.
Right. And I came up with this. I did a dinner. It was a private resident. And they all looked at me and they were like, can we lick the plate? And it was 10 of them. And I was like, this is your house.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. And so they did that. And I was like, I need to like start a dinner out where it's like, you just want to lick the plate.
Yeah. What a great idea. Thanks. Oh, because I love finding things with the dinner, whether it's like a piece of bread from the course before and just like
sopping it up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, so we talk about the amuse your mouth, lick your plate, pretty cool. And then the surf and turf.
Yeah, so surf and turf, again, familiar things that bring back memories, but how can I do it in a different way? So I'm taking rosemary, skewering it through, I do a different menu every week, every day. So I need to make sure, yes, it is lamb. I was going to say steak, but it is lamb tenderloin and then scallops. Put the skewer through it, and we're going to smoke it with hay and then lightly go on that. And then when you get to the table, you will have a shell. Well, I have to make it, but in my head it works with hay in it. So you'll get this dish that's already has the hay smoking as you're being served.
Oh, damn. That's pretty cool.
I think so.
Yeah. Still got to try this at home, see if it works. And then,
I mean, that's my other thing is when
turn off your sprinklers in the tasting room for this.
We're outside.
You're good. Hey, it shouldn't be flammable at all.
I mean, sometimes because they are different dishes, and I'll like come up with this idea, and I'll say it, and the winemaker's like, "I love that," and I'll leave and get in my car, and I'm like, "Can I do that?
Yes.
Or can I pull this off?
Is this even going to work?"
Yeah.
Have you ever tried something or thought of something so cool? Like in theory, it works and sounds bomb, but then once you apply it, you're like, "Fuck, it's not going to work."
I mean, if that happens, I'll figure out a way that it will work.
Yeah.
Like I am the type that will stay up all night until I pull this off.
Do you think, okay, I got to pull this off? Sure. Like I could, if I was making food for 4 people, I could probably pull this off, but I'm making food for 200 people. Like you have to think on a different scale, don't you?
You do. For example, last weekend's dinner that we did, it was kind of cool because they had me plating everything in front of the table.
Cool.
So everyone's kind of just waiting, but I love putting like 16, 17 different items and elements on a plate. So I think seeing me put every different thing, it's not just like one thing where I'm just putting it down, but that doesn't stop me. I'm going to figure out how to pull it off and just make sure I have the right support in the team to pull it off. And I think seeing what I do and not having the same menu item and pushing my limits every dinner I do, same people come back all the time because they're not going to get the same thing twice.
People are putting crazy stuff in waffle irons these days. That's a trend that's happening.
I do that with my leftover stuffing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And then it gets all crispy.
And then put an egg on it?
Yes. I did that like 6-7 years ago. And now we do it every single following day after Thanksgiving.
It's a great idea. I'm seeing people do all these weird things with waffle irons now. Mm-hmm. We were talking about trends off the air. Like I feel that's a thing that people are doing. You can probably do a whole book on waffle iron
what do you
creations.
See?
Like one person did just cheese and they put it in there and then it's all these little cheese kind of hardened little cheese things. I don't know. You see
what would you put in on the spot?
Probably poutine, some version of a poutine inside of it would be really good.
Dude, that's interesting.
That would be awesome.
I love Korean pancakes. I think those are always awesome.
Me too.
The stuffing kind of makes me think of that. It's awesome.
Oh, what a good idea.
Do you have a waffle iron?
Uh-huh.
Oh, there we go.
We got this little mini.
You don't have one?
Mm-mm. We got this mini thing too. It's a little mini one. It's cool because
is it the Belgium one that you flip or just the?
Yeah, I don't know that you flip it. I think you just kind of hold it down because it's kind of cheap. But I think I don't know how we got it. But it's like a little mini, so it just makes one little thing. But it got us thinking, God, it'd be fun to get a big one where you can make, a real.
Yeah, but I think having the small one, if you're not cooking for a lot of people, and I would have so many knickknacks. The little ones are nice because
totally
just throw them in the corners.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's awesome. All right, let's get to the rest of this menu. So much fun.
Okay. Deconstructed Beef Wellington. We were just talking about this. He's so excited.
Wow.
Mike is so excited to have this. It's going to be the flavors of a Beef Wellington, but
remind people again, Beef Wellington.
Different.
If you haven't seen Hell's Kitchen, what is Beef Wellington?
So usually it is filet, so beef tenderloin wrapped in prosciutto, mustard, duxelle, which is the mushroom. I use some capers in there, shallot mixture, and then wrapped in puff pastry, baked. Has to be medium
it's not
rare.
easy because you got the puff pastry. It's got to be certain, like you said, it's got to be medium rare inside.
Well, I don't know if it's a secret, but what I do is freeze every element. So like I'll hard sear the filet, then put it in the freezer. So it stops the cooking. Then you get it super, super cold because you don't want the outside to burn and then the middle to cook too much through. But I found then once I wrap the puff pastry over the frozen filet, by the time the puff pastry's done, that filet's cooked all the way through.
Because that takes about, a half hour? Puff pastry?
Oh, I mean, it depends. I would say half an hour.
Yeah.
And I've also done Beef Wellingtons individually, and they're easier to that way, and especially for a smaller group, and just wrapped it that way.
Deconstructed. That sounds fun.
So we're going to have a rosette. So have you seen those like European cookies that you put the powdered sugar on?
Okay.
And then underneath the rosette, I'm piping in the duxelle, the mushroom mixture. And then that's going to be the hat on top of the meat. Wow. I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
And then fried prosciutto. So it's got all those elements, but it's deconstructed. And once you cut into it, then you're going to be like, I know that flavor.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Perfect. All right. What's next?
All right. Then we have ratatouille. I actually played with this dish at a private dinner the other night, but just really fresh. I'm going to use these vegetables, a little bit of salt on that just to break them down, but I don't want it to be mushy or, overcooked. And then those are individually going to be plate. And then we have like a coulis of a roasted red pepper tomato sauce that goes over that dish. So again, looking at the menu, I always think of a roller coaster effect because the Beef Wellington is going to be a little bit heartier. And then that's usually when I throw in a vegetable or a salad course because I feel like it lifts your palate again. And then we'll go into something deeper. I always do that with my dinner because if you do it like a tasting light to heavy, you're going to be over it too fast.
And then you don't want dessert.
And you need to save room for dessert.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
We got pretty much like an Indian flair on a local black cod.
Cool.
Melt in your mouth. Really, really fun. Not too spicy, so it won't destroy your wine.
Make you take another sip.
I know. And then dessert, I have to play with it. But my idea is if you were there on a date, the server's going to come with you with an edible bowl, lift the bowl up in front of you, drop it. It's going to break into pieces. And then you're going to go in and eat and sop up all the yummy caramel and chocolate and fun stuff. So getting a little messy. So you lick the plate to start, get a little messy at the end.
No, that sounds like so much fun. When you hear this menu, Micah, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking like Alinea Restaurant Group, Grant from Chicago.
That is one of my inspirations.
I think just how much you make Paso's culinary scene better. I think it's awesome because there's a way that you could take that Chicago high-end kind of visceral, like, what do they call it? Biomolecular gastronomy.
Yes.
Like,
you said way
all
better
of that
than me.
feel. But you take it to a hometown vibe. Like, you're taking that same thing. I've seen a similar concept at, like, Chef Morimoto Dreams of Sushi, but we're making it so Paso and so you, and it tells the story of you and your family, your kids, and I think it's just awesome. I'm super excited to break some fucking bowls.
Yes.
So well said. Give this guy a shot of Malort.
There you go.
God.
I love it.
That's in the kitchen area. I always travel with Malort.
Let's talk about the latest with Booker right now. I mean, first of all, in a moment, I want to get into this cruise because I'm going to be going with you guys. And I understand you're going to be going on this cruise with us.
There we go.
This is going to be so much fun. But what is the latest with Booker and how are things shaping up?
Things are awesome, man. I mean, we just got a dream squad put together, and we're living the dream every single day. I get to hang out with Pete Tyrone, Hillary Graves, building a brand with Chelsea Sprague, our awesome club manager, Maddie. We just got so many people that are fired up on what we've got going on. We've got great new ideas, and we have all the support to put them into play. So we're in a really good spot, man. I mean, February is picking up, too. January is always Paso hospitality gets a little bit... not bored, but, setting the framework for February. So we're super excited just to see everything come to fruition. Awesome group of people to work with.
In a time when you're seeing a lot of people like complaining that it's slow or maybe habits are changing, or is it Gen Z? Is it this? Is it that? Is it neo-temperance? I mean, all the little different things that are, in the mix. What is a brand like Booker? Are you still seeing? I mean, sometimes I feel like some of these premium brands, they sometimes can weather these times better. I don't know. I mean, am I foolish to think that? How have things been? What is like your finger on the pulse of the way things have been of late?
So when you look at the comp set trend, we have all this data at our fingertips, and that's something that's awesome about our community is we're collaborative. So you see that, hey, we're seeing visitation decline across our region, and you have a couple ways to approach that. One, you can weather the storm if you want to, do the same old thing and just hope it lasts until that turn upticks or that trend upticks. But you can also pivot, right? Like at the end of the day, I think that's what we're really good at in our region is let's do something different. Let's do something scrappy. Let's find the people where they're at. People are still drinking wine. I can tell you that much. Yeah. I single-handedly do my part to kind of up that trend. But I do think that when you have a team of creative people together, and Booker, it's no secret, we have a lot of younger people on our team. We have a lot of people who love the future of the wine industry. They're super gung-ho and ready to do it. We have some fresh ideas. So it's really cool to kind of see those trends, but then how can we leverage our community, our neighbors, events that we put on, meet the consumer where they're at, and pivot. So we've done great. I mean, honestly, I put myself up against the industry trend every time I can because I take it as my personal challenge to beat it. And
yeah, no, sure.
Like, I mean, we're going to all succeed as a region. Rising tides rise all ships. And putting on badass dinners like this, going on these cruises, doing different things, meeting people where they're at. People want authentic hospitality, and what is Paso known more for in hospitality than authenticity?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a really, really good point, Micah.
And I think, really quick, bringing up the dinner too, we didn't talk about, this is the menu. If you really want to go all out, we are having a chef's table there. So you will get the VIP room, all glass, and I'll be in there personally cooking in front of you, plating in front of you, and doing some really cool things. But we're only doing 10 tickets with that VIP treatment.
Chef Rachel will personally break your bowl.
I will break your bowl.
That sounds like so much fun. Where are we getting tickets to this? BookerVineyard.com?
So both. We put it on both of our channels, make it as easy for anyone. BookerWines.com. We always have our list of upcoming events, and Chef Rachel is the one upcoming event we're highlighting right now.
Good.
So we're super excited about that.
Yeah, so pairwithchefrachel.com. Same with the Instagram. You can link on there or go on the website. It will link right to your talk for tickets.
I'll get all the links in the show notes here. This sounds like a really fun dinner. I cannot wait for it. Let's talk about this cruise because we are going to Bordeaux, corkandcruise.com. If you want more info, you can check out the itinerary. I did this cruise back in 16, so I cannot wait to go back to Bordeaux and check it out again. It is such a fun cruise. And have you been there before?
I'm pumped. I have had the privilege of going to Bordeaux, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah. Have you been on an AMA Waterways boat before?
On a boat, but never with Cork and Cruise.
Or AMA, the people who own the boats and stuff?
Oh, yeah. I've been on an AMA Waterways cruise, but
cool.
Never with these guys.
Never
so
with It's going to be fun. Yeah, it's going to be elevated. It's rad. Like, obviously, Jay and Marianne are incredible at what they do, and the experience is certainly elevated. But just to have these personalities there, I mean, to be on a boat, Eric Jensen, Stefan Aseo. I mean, that is going to be
Adam Montiel.
I don't know about that, but that's going to be. I mean, that's going to be a remarkable time, right?
Oh my goodness! I mean, imagine these two guys in a room together. It's I think both hospitality teams at L'Aventure and Booker, like we look at Eric and Stefan as these just like forces of not only energy, creativity, but just like love of the community. And you put these two together, it's not like oil and water. They really bounce off each other like crazy, and it brings out the authenticity in both of them. So I'm very excited. I think Chloe Aseo was the one I was most excited to talk about, and she's like, yeah, Mike, I think we both need to be on this boat just to keep everything copacetic.
Is
and make
Chloe
sure it's
going
good.
too?
Chloe's looking at it.
Nice.
I think we realized very quickly that this is too great of an experience for us not to accompany Stefan and Eric. So we're working through that.
Good. Well, I hope to see all those team members there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Unforgettable time. You get to cruise. Eric Jensen, Stefan Aseo, both of their wines will be on board. And what's cool is we're going to be able to compare side by side with Bordeaux wines, taste them right next to each other. I mean, we're talking about the area where really Stefan Aseo came from and like grew. It's like, I want to go to Paso. I want to be able to blend what I want, make what I want, and then to go back to the old world and see those wines right next to the ones that inspired them is going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to Saint Emilion, but then you go through Pauillac and Borg, and I mean, there's so many different spots that you'll get to. So it's going to be fun. Corkandcruise.com is the website for that. And I'm sure you got links on bookerwines.com for the cruise too.
100%.
Nice. Chef Rachel, anything else we should know about? Can I ask you about what I want to ask you about?
Yeah, but I want to ask one thing before. What are we drinking? This is amazing.
This is beautiful. Yeah, please, thank you.
So this is the 2017 Vertigo. I love to throw it back. There was a quote that I heard from Pete Tyrone, and he looked over at me, and I grew up in a wine culture where it's like the older the better. Like if you're a winemaker, you're drinking old vintage all day long. Booker's reframed that for me in a lot of ways, and I think that the way that they say this, and I love it, is that our wines don't get better with time, they get different. And I've been really excited to look not super far back in the library. That's always fun, but why don't we see what happened in 2017? Why don't we see what happened in 18? This was a big vintage. Pete Tyrone's kind of inaugural vintage with Booker, and his style is so balanced. He has this beautiful touch on the wine. So you take Eric Jensen's personality and Pete Tyrone's and you put them together. That's 2017
it's
Vertigo.
So balanced. Like it wasn't even open for that long. It's just it is bold, but there's such a good balance with acidity and
we got to tell Pete that this one opened beautifully. It's a really pretty wine.
Oh man,
what's Vertigo a blend of?
So Vertigo is always going to be Syrah dominant, some sort of play on a GSM. I love that this dinner is kind of flipping a wine dinner on this head. This is flipping a GSM on its head.
Right.
So it's always Syrah dominant, but it's winemaker's playground. We've played around with Viognier co-ferments. We've done a lot of whole cluster on this one. Winemakers get to really do what they do with this blend and say, you know what, we're Paso. We don't need to make a Chateauneuf style GSM. We can make the GSM that we want to drink, and it's usually Syrah dominant with tons of character, just a lot of beautiful spice from that whole cluster. Vertigo is one of my favorite of all times. Drink a couple glasses and you'll see why.
Yeah.
Oh, don't tempt me. Right. Good time.
That should be no problem, Micah. All right, let's ask all the uncomfortable questions about the new project, which I'm excited to know more about. What do we know? What do you feel comfortable saying?
Yeah, so I think word on the street, people are starting to talk a little bit. So yes, Eric and I are opening up a restaurant, his tasting room, downtown. More information will come when we know we're going to open. We're back in that construction phase, so that's always fun.
Right.
But we're halfway there. Electric, everything's in. It's just more TI things,
Yeah, no, sure.
you know. But yeah, we're open for lunch. I have a chef's table, so you're going to sit 6 chairs right up against where I'll be cooking, and then we have a dining room. You can do prefix or a la carte, and then we'll have some tasting menus with Eric's lineup. I think it's really cool because he'll have his label, but he's also bringing in beers from his history. So everyone he's worked with, Goose Island, Alaskan, Firestone. So we'll have those on tap too. So you can see his journey of these recipes that he created and then what he is doing now.
With cellar fermentation.
Cool. Yeah, I should have given that tag. Yeah. Thanks for heat appreciation.
That sounds like a great idea. I love that.
Yeah, we're so excited. It's intimate. It's small. It's 40 seats. Again, we'll announce the name of the place when we're ready, but we want to get everything lined up and then just make that big announcement when reservations.
Do we have all the Instagram handles? Do we have the website? Do we have all these things?
I do, but it's all hidden.
Yeah.
But what I have to say with the name, super creative. Eric created it over 10 years ago.
I've heard the name and I'm totally into it. I think it's fantastic.
It's so special. Even our wedding invitation. So now people who have seen our wedding invitation knows the area where we got married. That was the name of his warehouse in Chicago. He just named his warehouse. And thinking of a restaurant name, you know, I was pulling. I even told you something, and you're like, "That is horrible."
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, "I'm trying too hard," you know. Uh-huh. And then it literally.
And then I remember you saying something like, "Well, we were kind of thinking of." I'm like. That's brilliant. Like, that is what it needs to be.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's a word that we made up, but it makes sense to this area and region and what Eric does. So, yeah, we're really excited. It's very special to us.
So exciting. And it's such a, this time where so much creativity and anticipation is going into something. So it's got to be a really fun time. But meanwhile, you're juggling all the business that you've been doing, if not more, than you're always.
Absolutely. I'm taking whatever I can on. I actually thrive for that. You were talking about like February, how it's slow. And I haven't been doing as many events as I usually do. And I get in a funk. I'm like, I miss that interaction. I need to be cooking for these people. Just taking private and winemaker dinners and things like that, building up to that, hopefully summer-ish.
When you think of lunch, and I love that you're going to be open for lunch, What kind of things, I think of like, even like Bell's. You've been to Bell's in Los
Love.
Alamos? Like their egg salad is like, oh my God,
Love.
it's so good. What are some fun lunch things that you can like up and get people excited about that might be just things that we've heard of forever?
Well, with Eric's European background, we are like, the more I talk to people, I do feel like I have this Eastern European cooking style, but I am Polish and that's what I grew up eating. But I didn't really notice that until recently. I'm like, I do pull a lot of those flavors in, and then doing a twist with a fusion, you'll find a lot of Asian influence in my flavors and food. But I think bringing those style of food in for lunch, having fun with it, pierogies, homemade, with different kinds of fillings. I have a really cool pretzel recipe that's a pretzel without being a pretzel. So like really fun lunches where you can come, take something to go or sit and have a bunch of different things. I do like the smaller portions because I want to taste the beer, taste the wine. We will have a international and local wine program and try different things. But we also want it to be convenient to the people downtown where you can grab lunch to go and get something like that. So there'll be a set menu for that, a set menu for dining in. And then everyone keeps asking me to do bagels. So
there we go.
That'd be pretty cool.
And I have this garage door open in the front of the restaurant. So I could just sling bagels all morning. And then when I run out, we run out. So we'll see if that comes.
Yeah. But you start baking, you're going to have to be there god awful hours.
I'll have someone else
Oh,
there.
yeah.
They'll be early. Yeah. That's the whole key is the support and the team and the people you trust. And just like you're saying, building that team where you can just, sit back and let them do what they do. And, I want everyone to be creative together. I want this to be a team thing and them feel part of this experience.
So some lunch items you can just pick up, grab, take back to work or whatever. What kind of things do you think of? Like sandwiches? Or are we thinking like...
I was playing, so I make a homemade pita. It was crazy. So I did almost like a smash burger with a pita with lamb. So like it tasted like a gyro without being a gyro. Ooh. And then you pull it together and it has all the lettuce and tzatziki and everything in. But I want to play with something like that that's easy to grab and go. So things like that. Different sandwiches, but different. Yeah.
And then we'll be doing your dinners there. So what, like on any given Friday or Saturday night, you're going to have service for X amount of people. Will it be like Friday at 6:30, or is it like kind of like what we're doing here at Booker? Like just come between 6 and 9 and...
Yeah, Booker's menu that we're doing, we kind of had fun with that. And I'm like, this is going to be the first time to really play with what we're offering at our... I almost just said the name.
Oh, I would have beeped it out. It's okay.
Over there. But 7-course prefix and then the a la carte too. I want you, especially with locals, like I know for me personally, like if I'm doing a 7-8-course dinner, you're committing to something.
Yeah.
So you're not going to do that all the time. And I want to see people coming in and out. But then I know downtown we're going to get, a lot of tourists. The Ava Hotel is literally the dead end at our spot. So it's going to be a lot of in and out. But I want variety and people to just come in and grab a beer and something yummy or go all out.
I imagine you would do deviled eggs really good.
My key thing to deviled eggs, and it is my grandmother's credit.
Yeah.
Potato chips.
Inside
Or
the
yolk.
Not on top?
No. Inside, like crunched up.
Lay's?
Inside,
like
Lay's. Yep. And then mix that in and then put that in. It doesn't even, it has a little bit of texture, but it loses its crunch, but it has like these surprises of salt. So that's how I grew up eating them that way and I always do that. It's just a memory.
That sounds really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that the next time. Love good deviled eggs.
It is. Yeah.
What do you put on top? Just paprika, or do you do any little fancy schmancies?
Oh, it depends. I've done curry. I've done, different takes on it. I was just going to say something and now I lost my mind, but maybe it will come back. But with deviled eggs, I just feel like it's a blank canvas. You can, any sauce, any flavor, you can bring Thanksgiving flavors into there, add some sage and brown butter. Those kind of things I like to.
Could you pickle deviled eggs, or is that too much?
Well, you could pickle the eggs before
pickle
and
like
then
the white part.
open. Yeah.
That might be interesting.
I've actually done it with cabbage and then it turns it really, really pretty, blue
like purple,
or purple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'm playing with a new recipe and it's a Scotch egg with the outside being vegetarian. So like a mushroom sausage and then playing with the Scotch egg. But the key for me is for the yolk to stay yolky. Like it's a disappointment, me personally, when you cut into there and it's like a hard-boiled egg.
Yeah. I know.
But-
The egg yolks are tough. We've done a whole show on eggs with you.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah.
So many eggs. Oh, my gosh.
Exploded an egg in my microwave for you. I was like, that does not work.
Right, yeah, that does not work. That's a TikTok trend that we will not be following, Adam. Okay, you want to go to pairwithchefrachel.com. That is the website. You want to go to bookerwines.com. Either place. I'll got links in the show notes. And get tickets. I'd love to see you at this dinner on March 22nd at Booker Vineyard. And what we're doing is we're flipping the winemaker dinner on its head, where they're turning the tasting room, once it's closed, into pretty much a high-end restaurant. And you're going to have your first chance at tasting Chef Rachel's cuisine in this kind of space. And then with the wines of Booker, like, my goodness, like, this is going to be an absolute home run. So, man, then you're going to get, the phone's going to ring, and they're going to be like, yeah, you did that thing at Booker. We want to do something like that.
I'm open.
Great idea, man. This is
can
great.
That's my idea.
Only we get to lick the plate. Okay?
Yeah. I'll never do that.
Promise,
Unless
yeah.
at the restaurant.
You
maybe.
gotta do that. I'm still dreaming of pierogies, honestly.
Oh, I love a good pierogi.
What's a pierogi?
Oh my
What?
god.
I don't know that I know what a pierogi
Oh, I have
is.
to make them for you.
Yeah.
Okay, and my mom even, because we grew up eating them. So it's a dumpling, but it's a Polish dumpling.
Okay.
So
What's in
it's a
some
little
meats
bit
inside?
thicker. We grew up with cheese and plum, potato and cheddar. See that I said potato.
Potato, let's go.
I told you guys.
I love it.
Potato and cheddar, and it's like a mashed potato. Now I keep on saying
That
it.
sounds good.
And then, but you fry it, pan fry it, so it's already steamed, almost like you would on a dumpling, you know. But it's the crunch of the pasta dough, and then the oozy center. But my mom bought me a machine.
Oh my God, these things like Polish dumplings, they look
They
incredible.
are. They're big. But it's a machine where it's a circle, and I literally put the pasta disc on it, put the filling, push a button, and it goes whoop, and the dumpling falls out.
It looks like if you were to, like if a empanada and a ravioli went into the closet for 7 minutes in heaven.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But not fried like an empanada.
Right.
Yeah, steamed and then just a little bit of pan fry.
You know, the size reminds me of, what did I call you when we were in Mexico? And I asked you, like, what your take on was with these, what are those, like, it's like a delicacy, but it's the mushroom that comes
Oh, my
from
God.
corn. It's the fungus.
It's like a
that-
rot.
Yeah, it's a,
And was it a soup?
no, it was in an empanada. But what is horticulture?
I remember, but I had to look it up.
Yeah, what is,
heard
let
of
me
it?
Google it really quick. Hold on. Google, what is the fungus on corn? And who knew? It sounds so gross.
Yeah, but look at cheese.
Oh,
Or mushrooms.
wheat la coche.
Wheat la coche.
WHUITLACOCHE.
Was it funky?
It was so good. And I'm looking at it right now, and I want to like dry heave. It looks so gross. It looks like it's mold on corn. I mean, there's so many. It's a mushroom that grows off of corn, right? But it's so good. And
You should text that to Chris at Mighty Cat and be like, hey, got your next project going on.
let's do a wheat laco. Yeah, you grow mushrooms.
I'll buy it from him and try to recreate.
Yeah. Well, sure, yeah, we'll get into this. I love this. And it was one of those things where I like you probably, when you hear something, you're like, I don't know, you still want to try it. Like, I just want to give it a chance.
Always.
Every time.
Always.
Yeah. What was the weirdest thing you ever? I can think of. I was interviewing Chef Nicola from Mistura.
Love.
Fantastic chef and just a great man. And he's telling me about Peruvian cuisine. And one of the big things in Peruvian cuisine is cuy. Now, cuy sounds, whoa, delicacy. What's going on cuy? It's freaking guinea pig. And the way they serve it, it's a freaking guinea pig on a
Wait, do
plate.
they serve it here?
He says every once in a while, but they don't have it often. But he brought it into the studio and full on like pulls the tin off the plate. It's presented, and it is a guinea pig laying on its side with the whole thing there. But you cut into that and you eat it. You're like, oh my God, this is tasty.
Yeah.
You just got to get over it sometimes. I don't know.
I mean,
How do you do that?
really quick with my kids. So I did a rabbit ramen and I didn't tell the kids. I just said it's chicken. And then afterwards I was like, so this is rabbit. Renan, my son, starts crying and like goes in my arm, and I was like, oh God, I'm the worst. Graylin is continuing to eat it. She goes, they're really cute, but they're really yummy. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I know if I said that right away, they wouldn't have eaten it. I like trying new things, like
Yeah.
crickets. We went up Napa. We did a cricket tequila tasting.
Yeah.
transformed the tequila. It was amazing.
Was it?
Yes.
A little like just fried crickets?
It was fried crickets. The crickets were
Oaxacan
like
cuisine does this all the time, don't they?
peppery. Yeah.
with mezcal all day long.
Oh, so
Crickets
that's
and
what it
mezcal
was.
is a thing.
And it made it sweeter. Like it made the mezcal sweeter.
Yeah. I remember one time Chef Spencer did a Hospice de Ron Oaxacan thing maybe 5-6 years ago, and he had crickets there, and I'm not sure people got it. Like, I mean, I don't know if people were ready for it. I mean, it was, when I tried it, it was good, but it was just like, it's so out of the box sometimes that you're like, but look at that company Hot Licks right from here, right? I mean, they've made, a huge name for themselves putting crickets on,
There's that clientele.
sucker sticks or something. Yeah. But was there anything that even you were just too grossed out to try?
Yeah, my mom still eats it and loves it. Chanina. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's a duck blood soup. Yeah. And like my grandma used to have the duck upside down and just like let
God.
it. And then she's like,
Savage.
she loves it. And I'm like, I just.
Your mom's into it and she likes it, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Was there something that you in your culinary years that you...
It's kind of embarrassing a little bit, but I got hazed when I was working at a concept owned by Chef Morimoto back in the day in Seattle. I walked up to this awesome sushi chef that I had a lot of respect for named Junichiro. Walked directly to him and he said, "Oh, you're new here. You're working with our beverages." And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Try this." Didn't tell me what it was. It was this super fresh uni, which if I was ready for it, I would have been ready. But he didn't let me look at it. So he just like gives me this very squishy texture, super salt bomb uni, and then has me close my eyes while I have it. And I've had a lot of really good uni experiences, and that was probably the absolute worst.
But you're
uni
1,000,000% right. Like if you knew it was uni, you
I
would have
would've
been
loved
ready.
it.
Yes.
The texture is just not okay if you're not prepared.
No.
That's so interesting.
It's like putting an oyster in your mouth and not knowing it's an oyster.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like,
But
what
Chef
is this?
Junichiro tells you to eat it. You eat
I mean,
it.
I would do it. Hey, I would not ask questions.
Nope. Not at
Yes, what else do you want?
So much fun talking food and wine with you guys. Chef Rachel, we also have here Micah, who is the head of hospitality for Booker. We got websites in the show notes. Get tickets to this dinner. First of all, the wine opened beautifully. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in France, dude. This is going to be fun.
I can't wait, brother.
I'm so jealous.
We'll bring you home bottles. I
Oh,
promise.
thank you.
I promise.
Thank you. I love you guys.
We'll take selfies and sing Emilio and be like, wish
I
you were
know
here,
you
girl.
will.
And Chef Rachel, always great to see you. I love you and Eric and what you guys are doing. Cannot wait for your project to be just at the right point where we can tell more friends about it and listeners about it. And I have just felt so honored being, like a friend of yours, being in the back and seeing this dream of you and Eric's come to life. It's really
Thank
cool.
you.
So,
I appreciate you.
yeah, no doubt. Well, we'll see you March 22nd.
Yeah.
This
Cheers,
dinner.
you guys. I can't wait to cheers you there.
There we go. Let's go.
It's The Pour with Adam Montiel. We taste it, we spill it, we leave it all on the table. You can hear The Pour in its entirety on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, and wherever you get your podcasts. For more, visit adammontiel.com.